Hey guys, it's Savannah and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I have put all of my favorite DIYs that I have done over the past couple of months into one video so that you guys can binge watch it. So without further ado, let's get started. So for this DIY, you're going to need one of these Dollar Tree long signs and one of these plant hangers. And I'm just taking this and laying it flush on the end of this sign and then marking where I need to cut it. And then I'm taking a box cutter and kind of just scoring the sign until I get enough through as I think. And then I kind of snap it to where it comes apart and I sand that down to where it's a pretty smooth surface. Then I'm taking my Ivory Waverly chalk paint and I'm giving this a good coat. Now, sometimes I try to fight with the paper on the front of this, but I wasn't going to. So I did end up having to do like 3 coats. And then I also am going to cover the back as well. Now, while that is drying, we're going to take this metal hanging plant bracket from the Dollar Tree. It is in the garden section, and we're going to remove the screws, obviously. Set those to the side because we're going to need those. Then we're taking this plant chain holder, and we are going, I want the bottom hook parts to hold our sign. So I counted 5 up, and I'm not going to put you guys through the misery of watching me get these apart. Just know that I counted 5 up, and you can make yours as long or as short as you want. I am obsessed with this sign, you guys. I love how it turned out. I always like to try to make something before I buy it. So next we're going to take these Dollar Tree zip ties, and they come in red and black. They're at the Dollar Tree. I just said that, but you're going to take the black ones. So you're going to need 2, and we're going to zip tie these chains to this bracket. Now, I didn't pull them tight at first because I wanted to wait until I got it hung up to see how tight I wanted them. So I kind of just let those loosely hang, but then you're just going to repeat that step for the second one. Now, once our sign's dry, we're going to mark where we want our holes to be. So I'm just taking a pencil and this new technique of measuring, and it's basically just guessing until I think it's even. And then once you mark that, I gave that to my husband to drill 2 holes in. Now we're going to go in with our antique Waverly wax or whatever you like to distress with in my chip brush. If you guys don't have these brushes, you definitely have to get them. I love these, but I'm just going in on the sides, the front, the middle, all over. And if you do get a little crazy with distressing, I like to go back in and sometimes just sand over and blend it all in or go back in with the base coat that I used at the beginning. I did also distress the back of this sign because it is going to be seen, so I definitely want it to all look cohesive and like it's store-bought. Next, I printed this out on my Cricut. It just says washroom. Now, I wish I would have just had the Dollar Tree letters because I feel like that would have been a lot easier, but I already had this on hand. So by all means, like if you can get your hands on the Dollar Tree big letters that they have sometime in like their school section, those would work just as good. It almost is kind of like the same font as well. So I just lay that on there, and then because this is like a faux shiplap, I'm taking my box cutter and kind of scoring in the middle where those lines are, and then taking my Cricut, shovel, spatula, you guys know I call it something different every time, and just going over that, pushing the vinyl down as well. And then I like to sand over my vinyl just to blend it all in. I feel like it gives it more of a rustic farmhouse look. And then we are going to put it all together. So I'm just taking these chains and putting them through the holes at the bottom. And then once you get it hung where you like, you can clip those zip ties off, and it honestly just looks like a part of a chain. And I love this, you guys. I cannot believe I made this with Dollar Tree items. For this DIY, you're going to need 6 of these wood boxes from the Dollar Tree. It doesn't matter what shape is on the outside, the butterfly, the star, the flower. It just doesn't matter because that doesn't play a role in this DIY. And you're going to start by removing the plastic, obviously. And this DIY is kind of time consuming in my opinion, but it is so cute in the end. Now, my friend Camaro from Dying to DIY, she kind of made an anthropology chest with these, and I thought it was so cute. So I'm kind of putting my own spin on that. That's where I drew inspiration from. And then also one of my good friends, Melissa from All Things Crafty, she made like an anthropology anthology shelf almost. Not with these boxes, but it's so cute. So I'm going to link both of their channels down below. If you guys haven't seen that yet, definitely go check it out. So once I got all the plastic off, I am going to take these and turn these, you know, inside out. So you can't see that shape. I want it to be flush on the outside, and I don't want that shape to show at all. And then before I paint these, I kind of want to lay things out to see how I liked it, because like I said, most of the time I have these ideas in my head and I'm not really sure how they're going to play out. So I'm taking one of these Dollar Tree picture frames and I'm taking the little label holder on the bottom, tag holder. Now you can order these from Amazon, but I really wanted this to just be a Dollar Tree, as much Dollar Tree items as I could. So I knew I would eventually use these, and this was the perfect project. So you're gonna need 6, but just to lay them out, I'm just gonna take apart 1. You could go ahead and take apart 6. I don't know, sometimes I work in weird ways. Then I'm just kind of playing with the placement of the label holder, kind of seeing where I want it to go. And then I got these little wood knobs from Hobby Lobby. They were like $2.49, 50% off, so super cheap. And so I wanted to use 3 of these. So I'm laying them out and I'm kind of just seeing where I want them to go. And then I also got these from Hobby Lobby, these little handles. They were also fairly cheap, 50% off. And I'm kind of just laying things out to see how I want it to go. I didn't know if the handles, 2 different kinds, would look okay, but I thought it looked really cute. So then I'm going to set the metal stuff to the side and I'm going to glue the wood knobs on all of the boxes because we are going to paint those as well. Then I'm taking some Waverly chalk paint in the color Ivory, and I'm going to paint all of these boxes. This was probably the most time-consuming part of this project, but it turned out so cute. If you wanted to spray paint it, you could always do that as well. Now, this is why I glued the wood knobs on first, because I want to paint those as well. I want those to be, you know, flush with the boxes like they came that way, and then I want the other handles to kind of pop out. So I'm not going to bore you with this 40-minute paint job. I'm just kidding. It did not take 40 minutes. I would say maybe 10. So yeah, I'm just painting all of these, and I didn't really worry about the inside because you weren't going to see that. And then once those were dry, I am taking my chip brush and some antique Waverly wax, and I'm going to distress all of these as well. Now this was kind of time consuming, but not as much as the first coat. And like I always do, I didn't go super heavy handed. I didn't mind some of that wood showing through. So I'm just going through and distressing it until I get them how I like. Then once all of these are dry, we are going to put the boxes back in and we're going to start hot gluing them together. Pretty self-explanatory. I just, you know, I put a lot of hot glue on there. I like to use Gorilla Glue hot glue. Sometimes it's easier than doing like super glue and hot glue. So I like the Gorilla Glue hot glue. How many times can I say that? Hot glue, hot glue. Okay. Anyways, so I'm just gluing all of these together, self-explanatory again, and yeah. Then this is where I went back in and started removing those label holders from the picture frames. Again, I'm not sure how much these would cost on Amazon. Like I said, my friend Melissa from All Things Crafty made a really cute shelf, and I believe she ordered her label holders from Amazon. Honestly, you could probably get a whole pack for $6. But I just decided to buy 6 picture frames because, again, I wanted this to kind of be as much Dollar Tree as I can make it. Then this is the fun part, putting it all together. You can see what I did. I did knobs, 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom, 1 at the top. And then for the metal ones, I did 1 at the top and 2 at the bottom. I kind of wanted to, you know, like offset them. And so I'm just laying everything out to see where exactly I want to put the label holders. And I thought they looked best at the bottom. I don't know, personal preference. You could do whatever you wanted. But I just thought that they looked best here. And then I'm going to hot glue everything down. And then that is going to be it. Now there's so many different ways you can style this. I thought it was cute to put a little bit of greenery in there. You could also put some farmhouse beads. I am obsessed with how this little cabinet turned out. So moving on, you're gonna need one of these little Dollar Tree box frames. This is the one that has the house. I would recommend getting the house because we use the house. So I just started by removing the house from the little, I don't know, it was like almost 3D, the little block. And I'm gonna keep the house because again, we're gonna use it, but we're gonna use the back. So I sanded it down a little bit just to get it flush. And then I am taking my heat gun, thanks Colleen, and removing the little block. Now I found this a lot harder than it probably should have been, but it did eventually come off. And then I got this really cute scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby. I think it was $4.99, again, 50% off. So, and it comes with so many different patterns. So I'm using like this blue flower-ish one. I think this is so cute. I don't know why I've been obsessed with blue lately, but I just love it. And because I live on a struggle bus, I can't cut straight and I have no idea where my scissors are. And I just did not want to go downstairs and grab another pair. So I'm using a broken, I don't even know, box cutter and trying to cut this out to size, and I get a little wonky. So I end up just taking pieces and kind of piecing it together, but you can't even tell, honestly, when everything is put back together. Then once I had all my pieces cut out, I just hot glued the cute little scrapbook paper to the back of this box and then just covered the spots that you could still see some of that black background. And again, you couldn't even tell that this scrapbook paper was 3 different pieces. It really, honestly, couldn't even tell. Then we're going to go in with our chip brush and some antique Waverly wax, and we are going to distress the outside of this frame. Now, sometimes these little frames are, I don't know how to explain it. They have like a gloss or they're just really hard to distress sometimes. So sometimes I find it easier to go in and sand it first and then distress. And then I did distress a little bit of that scrapbook paper in the back of the frame just so it kind of looked a little rustic as well. And because I do things wonky ways sometimes, like my ADHD is all over the place, I stopped doing that and I went in and painted the house with some Waverly chalk paint in the color Ivory. And then I set that to side to dry. And then I went back to the frame, sanded it down, and distressed it until I got it as much as, you know, as much distressing as I wanted and I liked. Then once that house was dry, we are going to take some more of the antique wax and distress the sides of the houses just because I want this to all blend in and look very, you know, rustic. And I then sand over where I distressed a little bit just to blend it all in. I like to do that if you're new here. Sometimes when you're distressing and you sand back over it, it looks like it was made that way and it blends in with the first coat and paint so nicely. I love doing that. Then we're going to take that same block that the house was on before and hot glue that in the middle. And then look how weird I am, you guys. I put hot glue all over that house except for in the middle. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I'm like, girl, what were you doing? So I had to add hot glue in the middle and then I put the house back down. Then I'm taking these little burlap flowers. These are also from Hobby Lobby. You guys, I went on a Hobby Lobby spree when I was up at my in-laws and they were also 50% off. So they were around $2. And I took this little burlap flower, which I thought was so cute, and I hot glued that to the middle of the house. And that is it. This is a super simple DIY. Sometimes you don't have to do a lot to Dollar Tree items. You just have to change them to your style and your decor. And I think this turned out so cute. It's perfect for a tier tray or just anywhere in your house. So for our last DIY, you're gonna need 6 of these coasters from the Dollar Tree. Now, look how pretty these are. I am pulling inspiration from my girl Shayna from Robinson Repurposing on a thrift flip we did a while back. You guys know her and I host that challenge. She took tiles and made this really cute planter box. So I wanted to take some Dollar Tree tiles and make a vase. So I started by hot gluing two of them kind of in a triangle. Now I thought about doing this square, but I thought it would be cool to do a different shape. So that's what I did. And I just started by hot gluing all of the sides together. Then I played around with the idea of kind of doing it offset almost, but I just didn't like it. So I just went with the same shape on top as well. Now I wanted this to be more like a vase than a planter, so that's why I stacked them. And so I just repeated that in a little triangle formation with these as well. Then once I had them all glued together, you know, I gotta distress it. So I just went on all the faces of the tiles or the coasters, and then on those white parts that you could still see, because I felt like that made it pop so much more and look more rustic or shabby chic, whatever you want to call it. And once I kind of got it how I liked it, I honestly was not planning on doing this, but this little scrap burlap ribbon was just sitting on my desk. So I kind of tied it around it, like the middle where you could see where the coasters connected. And I hot glued the back of that to the tiles so that it would not move. And then I was gonna leave it this way, but I was like, it needed something else. So I have some more of these little burlap flowers that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I thought that would be really cute on there. But then I was still like, why do I keep doing that? I thought that probably wouldn't be enough as well. I just wanted to add just a little bit more. So I took some raffia, and again, because I can't find my scissors, I just used a zip tie, and then I didn't take into consideration that I'd have to cut the tail of the zip tie. So this is what I did. I burned it off. Then I just split my raffia to make it look a little bit more full. I love doing that. I feel like a little goes a long way, especially when you're using the raffia, even though it's super cheap. I don't know. I just like doing that. And then I am going to hot glue everything on. And that is it. I think this is such a cute vase. So let me know which one was your favorite from today.
Totally be like, go.
There you go. First DIY, you're gonna need one of these little hangers from the Dollar Tree. Now, I know that this isn't really a print DIY, but I do feel like it's a pattern because you'll see what we do in a minute. I just feel like I kind of like made my own pattern. So I'm going for one of those like old clothes racks. You know, the ones that sometimes you can push together and pull apart and they kind of spread like diamonds. That's what I'm going to try to make here, okay? So I'm taking some regular size craft sticks, popsicle sticks, whatever you call them, and I'm kind of just laying them out. Now, I knew that I wanted 3 of the diamonds, hence the pattern or shape, whatever. And so I knew I wanted 3. So I kind of have to play around with the diamonds until I can get as many on there as I want. So it did take a minute, not too long, obviously. But once I got it how I liked it, I kind of just laid it all out. And then I started hot gluing all of the popsicle sticks together. Then, I don't know if you guys have seen these before. I actually saw a picture on Pinterest, so that's kind of where this inspiration is coming from. But if you look at them, it's kind of like the way that they end is like the diamonds are cut in half. So that's what I was going for here. I'll insert a picture so you can kind of see what it looks like. So once I got all the hot glue, all the popsicle sticks glued together, I'm then gonna glue this little rack on there as well. Now, when I started, I'm just kind of putting hot glue anywhere that it touches the wood, and I didn't feel like that was enough security. So I do end up taking some black Dollar Tree zip ties, and I zip tie them anywhere that the popsicle sticks and the hanger interchange. So anywhere that there was an X, I go around the wood and the hooks. Then I just cut off all of the tails to the zip ties, and then I just wanted to add, I don't know, just a little bit more to it. So I actually got these little furniture buttons from Hobby Lobby. I think they're so cute. And I wanted to add these on to here as well. So I just took them and I just put them at the tip of the diamond. So, you know, anywhere that there was a tip. And then I did do the two ends at kind of the half diamond as well. Then once that was done, I took this outside and gave it a good coat of this black Rust-Oleum flat spray paint. And you guys, I've been on the hunt for one of these in like a thrift store, and I finally was just like, I'm gonna make it. And I think this turned out so stinking cute. So let me know what you guys think. On to our second DIY. I am taking one of these Easter cutting board decors. Shout out to Melissa from All Things Crafty. I was not able to find these anywhere around me. So she actually snagged two for me and mailed them to me. So thanks, girl. If you guys aren't following her, definitely go check her out. That's Melissa, All Things Crafty. So I just started by removing the front of this and then those little like thumbtacks. And I found it pretty easy to remove those. Then this is where we get into some prints, but I got this scrapbook paper book from Hobby Lobby when I was up at my in-laws. Me and Megan from the Crafty Quinn, we actually finally got to meet up and we went on a little shopping spree at Hobby Lobby. But I just loved all the patterns in here, and I end up going with that yellow stripe paper, but I changed my mind because I wanted this to last kind of all year. I wanted to be able to keep this all year, and I felt like that yellow was more of like a summery color. So then I am going to paint the back of this with some Ivory Waverly chalk paint. Again, just a good, like, you know, one coat. It's okay if some of that wood's showing through. I love it. If you don't, then by all means, cover the whole thing. Then this is where you can see that I decided to change the print pattern that I chose. And I decided to go with this kind of like flowery, I don't know, it just looked very like vintage and shabby chic to me. So I ended up hot gluing that on top of there. I just don't like using Mod Podge sometimes with paper because there's just bubbles, and I think it looks just as good when you hot glue it. Then I like taking my sander and just sanding the edges, so if it is a little bit over, I can go through and get all that excess paper off. That way I have like a clean, crisp, you know, line on where the edges are. Then we're going to go back in and start distressing. So I am taking some antique Waverly wax and my chip brush, shocker, and I'm just distressing this whole cutting board. Now, obviously, this is not a cutting board, okay? So don't go cutting things in your kitchen on this and be like, well, Savannah made a cutting board. No, girl, I did not. This is decor purposes only, okay? I do not recommend using this to cut anything or put any kind of food on. Anyways, I don't even know why I said that, but I'm just going through and just distressing this whole thing because I want this to look kind of vintage, shabby, chic, farmhouse, all at the same time. And then I'm also going to lightly distress the raised part of this cutting board as well, just because the colors are kind of neutral and they almost blend in, but I kind of want this to pop out just a little bit. So I just did the edges and then I lightly dry brushed over the top. Then I printed this out on my Cricut. It is in the Design Studio. If you guys have that, it's free. No, well, the Design Studio isn't, but this image is if you pay for the Design Studio. Better get that right. So I just laid this on the middle. I thought it was so cute. It says Farm Fresh, and then it has a little piggy, a rooster, and a cow. I thought it was so adorable. So I just put this on the center of this. And then if you're new here, I like to just sand a little bit over my black vinyl, especially if I'm making something farmhouse, just to kind of dull down that black just a little bit and kind of make it look more worn. So then we are going to hot glue this to the center of our cutting board. Super self-explanatory. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Then I was going to go back in and just put those little silver thumbtacks back in where they were, but I just felt like they didn't really blend in with what I had going on now. So I took some more of those little furniture button plugs or whatever these are called. I got them from Hobby Lobby. I think they were like $2.49 and then 50% off. So I just put those on the corner of there, and I just felt like the wood really went well with this whole project. I'm actually in love with this whole project. I really love everything that I did today. I just love patterns. I love colors, you know, little pops but toned down a little bit. Like this has got something crazy going on, but it's very toned down. So then I'm just taking some of this ribbon from Hobby Lobby and some ribbon from Dollar Tree, and then you guys know some raffia and a piece of jute, and I am cinching this bow together. I didn't do an X bow. I just laid them all, you know, like on top of each other and not staggered, you know what I mean. And then I used the extra jute and tied it around the handle, and then hot glued the back of it just so that it wouldn't move anywhere. And then I fluffed the raffia out, and then I just wanted to add something else because I'm just a little extra. You saw in my last video, I found these little flowers, and I think this is so cute, you guys. Oh my gosh, I am in love with this. All right, you guys, it has been a while since I have done a book stack on my channel, and I really wanted to do it again and show you guys how I like to do my book stacks. So I buy these books from Dollar Tree. I always try to get the hardback ones. I think the softbacks would be fine. And I always rip the cover off. And I rip it to a page, kind of see how that page has like words on it. I just feel like this makes these books look so old and a lot cuter when they're stacked somewhere in your house. But that's just me, personal opinion. And I don't like painting these and then distressing them. I feel like they already look distressed if you rip the things off. And so yeah, I just love that. So I'm repeating that step with this book. Again, just ripping the hardback off and ripping 2 pages that I want to be on top. Like I don't want a blank top. I kind of want it to look like this book is really old and it's lost a few pages and it's, you know, it's worn down and they're stackable books. Doesn't get much easier than that. So then I am taking some cheetah print and some like a deer print. I got this scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby. If you guys know me, I'm obsessed with cheetah print. Obsessed. Love it. So I wanted to use it somewhere in this video. So I took a jumbo popsicle stick and I hot glued it to this scrapbook paper, and then I am going to cut it out. Then I'm going to repeat that step with the deer print, but actually smaller popsicle sticks, 2 of them, and you're going to cut the ends off to where it's like a straight on the end, and you're going to put them together. You can kind of see what I'm doing here. It's probably easier to watch than me like sit here and try to explain in a super complicated way when it's really not super complicated. So once you got those glued down, you're going to cut those out as well. So if you've been with me for a while, you've probably seen me do book stacks before, like a long time ago when I first started my channel. And I usually don't do them this way. I just wanted to do them this way because I wanted the bindings to have a cute pattern. Usually I will write something on the back of them. I'll paint the, you know, the binder, or what is it? I don't know, the back of the book to where it's white, and then I'll write something on it. So then I am going in and I'm going to hot glue these popsicle sticks to the backs of the book. I just thought this would probably be, I can never speak, geez. I just thought that this would be the easiest way and to make sure that that pattern was seen and it wasn't wrinkly. So I just thought that that was going to be the easiest way. So you can see I ripped that page off again, so I want the words to show. And then I'm going to take some antique Waverly wax and we are going to start distressing this thing. Again, I want this to look super old. I mean, I can't really say that anymore. I just want it to look old. Once I got them both distressed how I liked, I am then taking some Dollar Tree lace ribbon and some jute, and I'm just going to tie a cute little knot at the top, nothing too crazy. Sometimes if I'm doing like a regular book stack like these, I'll put some greenery in there, but just because the backs of these books were such a statement, I just really wanted to do a simple little bow, and I think these turned out so stinking cute. I know I always say that, but I really do love everything today. So let me know what you guys think. Oh, you guys see those scissors? My mother-in-law's the best. She sent me some scissors after my last video. Moving on to our last DIY, I finally found some of the Dollar Tree nautical stuff, and I really thought this sand dollar was a lot harder, but it was just like a sticker. So I'm taking one of these houses and I'm removing the sand dollar, and then I'm gonna remove the little like roof of the house, and we're gonna keep that because I want to put that back on. And then we are going to cut out this house in some Dalmatian print scrapbook paper. And then I didn't want to show you guys how to cut it out. I'm sure you guys know how to cut. But then I'm taking some, just acrylic black paint, and I am just painting the top of the roof because, the Dalmatian print has black in it, and I kind of just wanted this to, I don't know. And I wanted that roof to be a little bit more of a statement. So I am just painting that with a sponge brush. Then we are going to put it all together. Now this DIY is super simple, but I think it's so cute. It would be perfect for a tiered tray, and I love Dalmatian print right now too. Actually, my welcome mat at the front of my door, it's like that brown hard stuff. You guys know those mats, but it has home in black and then little Dalmatian black prints all over it. It's really, really cute. So I am just hot gluing this paper to the house, smoothing it out, and then I'm gonna sand the sides down. Now, if you like using Mod Podge, again, use what you guys like. I just sometimes don't like using it because of the bubbles and stuff like that. But if you do use Mod Podge before you sand, make sure that it's completely dry, or you will mess up your whole thing. Trust me, just take my word. So I'm just ripping off all the excess so I have nice clean lines, and it looks like it was made this way. Then we're gonna hot glue our little black roof back on top, and then I do end up going in with that sponge brush again and just painting the whole roof of this little house, because you could still kind of see like where some of that paper kind of like stuck through it. So I just wanted to paint it so that it all blended in and it looked like it was one piece. Then you guessed it, we are gonna distress this cute little house, but just on the edges mostly, and then a little bit in the middle. So I'm taking my antique Waverly wax and my chip brush, and I'm just dry brushing on the corners, the ends, the edges, and then I kind of just lightly dry brush in the middle. Then I'm taking some of these stickers from the Dollar Tree, the letter stickers in like their school section, and I'm taking in, because our last name is Nicholas, and I'm kind of putting this at the top of the house. Then I'm taking some Dollar Tree lace ribbon and then some more of that jute, and I kind of want to make a messy, not a bow, but just make something messy with this as well. So I kind of just laid the house on top and kind of just, I don't know, wrapped it around, and then I ended up tying it in a knot and just playing with it until I got it how I liked. And then I put another one of those little burlap flowers from Hobby Lobby in the middle of this and just played with the ribbon and the jute until I got it how I wanted. And I think this turned out so cute. I had so much fun creating all of these DIYs. So let me know which one was your favorite from today. First lemon DIY, I am taking this color Pale Daffodil, I think, I'm not sure, and Apple Barrel, and then I'm taking one of these Dollar Tree crates. This is the one that doesn't have the holes in it. Obviously, I'm pretty sure you could see that, but I am starting out by pouring way too much paint on this. I don't think this would be one of my videos if I didn't excessively use paint. I don't know why. I have no self-control when it comes to painting. I am so messy. So I'm just going through and I'm covering this whole crate. I didn't worry about the inside, but I did want to cover the whole outside, and in like where those little handles are, I wanted to make sure that was covered too. Now you could cover those handles, but in this particular DIY, it didn't bother me. But if it does bother you, you can always put some popsicle sticks or, you know, just add something to hide them. Then I printed this cute little saying off on my Cricut. It says, "Squeeze the day," and I just made this up myself. It wasn't in the design space, so I just picked a cute font that I liked, and I thought this was kind of playful, so I just laid that on there. And then obviously we're gonna make this look like a book stack. I've seen a ton of DIYers do this, and I really wanted to put my own spin on it. So then I'm taking some antique Waverly wax and my chip brush, and I'm just going through and distressing this whole crate, especially where the lines are, because I want it to be pretty prominent that I want it to look like a book stack, if that makes sense. Then I took a Dollar Tree barbecue skewer and I dipped it in the antique Waverly wax, and I'm kind of just dragging it in the little, you know, the line, and then taking my chip brush and kind of dry brushing over it just to make it more like defined and that it looks like these are 3 separate books. Then I took some ribbon that I got from Walmart and I kind of just knotted it at the top. And then I'm going to take some raffia and I kind of just, you know, like, I don't know how to explain it, just make a bow. And then I tied it with a jute, and then I'm going to hot glue this to the top of the bow. And I think this turns out so adorable. It's perfect for a tiered tray in summertime. I am just in love with this first DIY. For this next one, I am taking this wood round, and yes, it is from the Dollar Tree. One of my Dollar Trees have turned into a Dollar Tree Plus, and I thought this was so cool. Now, again, if you don't have a Plus yet, you could always use a pizza pan for this DIY, but I'm just starting by taking some white no, girl. Why do I always do that? I should have this word down pat because I use it in every video. Some white Waverly chalk paint. I almost did it again. And I'm just covering this whole wood round. I want it to be all covered in a pretty decent coat. Then we're going to take some painter's tape and we are going to start lining this and making lines. So I want this to be like black and white, black and white, black and white. So really, if it bothers you about, if you're really anal about bleeds and stuff, you know, you could use something a little bit better, but I wasn't really worried because I wanted this to look kind of rustic anyway, so I didn't mind. So I just used regular painter's tape and I'm just going through and lining this whole wood round. And I'm sorry about the lining during this part. My ring light is so sensitive, and if I like stand up or put a certain color in there, it changes. So just bear with me because I was trying to stand up and look to make sure the lines were straight. Then I'm taking some Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, and I am just painting in where those, you know, obviously where the lines are. So I thought it would be easier to just paint the whole thing white and then go back in and do the lines instead of like doing line white and then going back in and having to do white. It was just, I don't know. It was just easier for me. Do whatever your little heart desires. I just found this to be the easiest way. And then once the paint is kind of semi-dry, you're going to start removing the tape. Obviously, we're not going to leave that there. And again, if bleeds bother you, I don't know, you could use like a stronger tape or something. But again, it didn't really bother me, and you couldn't honestly really tell. And I think this comes out so adorable. You guys, if they're putting a Dollar Tree Plus in your area, you have to go check it out. I was so excited when I saw these, and I knew exactly what I wanted to kind of make out of one. And then I have another idea for a couple, but we'll get there when we get there. Then while that is drying, we're going to make a bow. Now, I do end up going back and changing my mind with this bow, but I'm taking some of this like polka dot white ribbon. I took some of this yellow gingham ribbon, which this is what I end up changing my mind on. Some lace ribbon. This is from Hobby Lobby. The yellow is from Walmart, and so is the white polka dot one. And then some burlap ribbon, which is also from Walmart, and then some more burlap ribbon that is also from Walmart. I love Walmart's ribbon, and I think it's a pretty good price too. So I'm laying the bigger pieces straight across, and then the smaller pieces in X formation. Some of my subscribers have asked me if there's a video on how I do my bows, and sometimes I will leave them in the video just so if you're new here, you can kind of see how I do my bows. So I lay them like this, and then I take some jute and I just cinch the bow in the back. Then once this wood round was dry, we're going to go through and just sand it down. And because I wanted this to look rustic, and the black and white was very, like, you could see it from a mile away. And even though I wanted that, I still wanted it toned down just a little bit. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just taking my finger sander and just sanding over the black. Then I got these little triangle hanger things from Walmart, and if you're gonna put this outside, I would definitely recommend putting the nails in it, but this is gonna hang inside my house, so I just hot glued it to the top of the wood round, and I have not had any trouble with it yet. So then I printed these out on my Cricut. This was in their design studio, which if you have a Cricut, I definitely recommend having their design studio. There's so much in there. So I'm kind of just playing around and see how I want these to lay. Now, I printed all of these lemons out, but as you can see, they're not going to fit on there. So I just decided to go with the 3 lemons in the middle. So I just cut those out, and I'll save the other lemons. You never know, I might use them. And then I'm just laying the vinyl on there, obviously. I don't know, you guys. I have the hardest time with transfer tape. I have a hard time picking it up off the paper, and then I have a hard time getting it off once I lay my project. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I have literally the hardest time with transfer tape. So then once I got all the lemons on there, I'm kind of just making sure that they're not peeling up because, again, I have so much trouble with this. Then we're going to go in with our chip brush and some antique Waverly wax, and we're just going to distress this whole thing. I even go over the yellow vinyl just because I want that to be a little bit worn down as well. Now you can see in this shot that yellow and in the bow and then the yellow in, the vinyl just really clashed. I don't know. I felt like it didn't go. So I end up taking the yellow out and then adding some raffia into the bow just to make it a little bit more fuller. And I loved that. And so I decided to go with that. And I think this is so cute. I have like an old window in my house, and I think this would be really cute hanging on it. So let me know what you guys think, and if you have a Dollar Tree Plus near you. If you are new to my channel, I'm Savannah, and I love doing high-end Dollar Tree DIYs, or honestly anything DIY on a budget. So if that's something you're into, I hope that you stick around, hit that subscribe button. Also, liking, sharing, and commenting on all my videos really does help my channel out, and it means so much to me. You guys are amazing in every single way, and I cannot thank you guys enough. All right, let's get back into crafting. So this next DIY is pretty simple, but I think it turns out so cute. So I'm taking one of these Dollar Tree frames, and I'm removing the back from it, and then I'm just giving the frame a good coat of the Ivory Waverly chalk paint. Again, you don't have to be perfect because we are going to distress this. as well. Now, I've seen people remove this and be really good at it. And yeah, it just did not work out well for me. So I just butchered it and then I ended up throwing it away. But then I'm taking some of this buffalo check scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby and I'm just tracing this on it and then I'm going to cut it out. And then we are going to hot glue the scrapbook paper on top of the wood, obviously. And again, if you would rather use Mod Podge, go for it. I'm not gonna tell you not to, but I just think it's so much simpler to just hot glue it and be done with it. So then I'm taking some antique Waverly wax and a chip brush, and I am just distressing this whole frame like I said we were, of course. And just getting it how I like it, and then I go back over and sand it down, and then some of that wood from the beginning kind of shows through, and I think it looks really cute. Then we're going to put it back together. Now I wanted to put this in the frame before we did the next step, just so I could see how I wanted everything to lay. And then I printed this out also on my Cricut. It just says lemons. And then I also printed out 5 cents. Now, you guys, if you don't have a Cricut, it's okay. Like, I went forever without a Cricut. There are so many other options. You know, sometimes people are like, oh, I don't have a Cricut, so I can't do any of these. Yes, you can, girlfriend. Dollar Tree has so many cute rub-on transfers. They have letters. There's so much that you can do, and you don't have to have the Cricut. So then I'm just laying the 5 cents and removing that. And then I thought it needed just a little bit more. So this is how I kind of make my raffia bows. I just take it and just keep looping it around until I get as much as I want. And then I will take some jute and tie it off. And then I'm going to hot glue this right beside the 5 cents. And then after I put that down, I wanted to add a little button because why not? And I think it just brought it all together. And I think this is so cute, so simple, and I love how this DIY turned out. So this last DIY is kind of a 2-for-1, but we're going to go ahead and start with the first one. So you're going to need 2 of these houses, and I started by removing the sand dollar and the top of the roof, and then there was like some excess paper at the bottom, so I kind of just ripped that off. But then I'm taking some Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, and I'm just painting the roof of this house. Now I'm going to do this to both of them, but I don't know, I just felt like the black, it just stands out more, and I don't know. Personal preference. So yeah. Then I'm taking the house and I'm going to trace it on the back of this shiplap looking scrapbook paper. I also got this from Hobby Lobby, and usually all their scrapbook paper is like 50% off, I'm pretty sure. Well, at least it was when I was there. So anyways, I'm just tracing this out, and then I'm going to cut this out. Then we're going to hot glue this on the front of the house. Again, if you want a Mod Podge, go for it. Your girl here just... if I can get away without using Mod Podge, I'm going to do it. So I'm just laying this on the front of the house, and then where there are like, it's kind of like hangover, or I didn't get, you know, like some pages down, I'll just add some hot glue, and then I'm going to take my sander and sand the edges. Now, if you are using Mod Podge, again, wait till it is completely dry, because just trust me, it's going to mess up. And just, I go at a downward motion to get those corners and make sure that it's just really coming off in the shape that the original house was in. And sorry, I was a little out of frame there. I really get into my sanding. So then I'm just taking some antique Waverly wax in my chip brush, and I am just distressing this shiplap house and just getting it to how I like. Again, I love distressed things. I love it. I just think it looks so pretty, and that's my style. But if you don't like it, of course, don't do it. Again, you could have a pink house if you wanted, but this is a lemon video, so it can't. Then I'm taking this little tag I got from Dollar General. I got these a while back. They are like $2 and they come like a pack of 5, I'm not sure. And I'm tracing it out on this lemon scrapbook paper. Now, here's where Mod Podge comes in. I wanted to Mod Podge this to the tag because I wanted the tag to look like the lemons were inside of, you know, like it was made this way versus just put on there. And sometimes Mod Podge can do that for you. So I just lay that on there and then again, Mod Podge over the top of it and let it completely dry before I sand. Now we're gonna let our first house kind of just sit over there and watch, and we're gonna take our second house and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna remove the sand dollar and then we're gonna remove the roof of the house. And this is pretty easy. Both of them kind of pop off. There are little like nails at the top, but I mean, they didn't really play a role in this. It didn't really bother the DIY at all. And then I'm taking some ink, Waverly chalk paint, and I am painting the roof of this house as well because I want them, these are going to be kind of like a pair. They're about to be a couple and I want them to kind of, go together. So then I am taking that same lemon scrap of paper that I put on the tag and I am tracing this house out. So it's kind of just the same technique. I'm just going to trace it out, cut it out, hot glue it, and sand it. Pretty simple. And again, at a downward angle when you sand, I just feel like that really, I don't know, it just does something. It gets those excess pieces off. And again, if you are using Mod Podge, wait till it is completely dry. Then I'm taking some antique Waverly wax, shocker, and my chip brush, and I am going to distress just the sides and a little bit in the middle because I feel like this is really colorful and I don't know. I love the colors of this. I love the lemons. So I didn't want to take away too much from that, but I still wanted it to be like a rustic piece. And then while I was distressing that, I went ahead and distressed the tag and put a little hole in it just using some scissors. And now we are going to put all of it together. So we are going to put our roofs back on our house, obviously. And then we are going to add some kind of embellishments to make them look more like a couple. Now I'm just taking some jute and I'm gonna wrap it around this house and tie it off in the back. And then I am going to pull it around to the front and add that tag in there and kind of just, I don't know, I was kind of playing with it first, but I was like, oh, I can only go around twice. I don't know. I wish I would have cut more, but it still looks cute. So I add the tag and then I kind of just stick it down into that first wraparound just to kind of make the tag stay. And then I take that excess string, take it around to the back and tie that off. And then I wanted to add a cute little raffia bow just to add just a little bit more. And then of course, your girl had to add buttons. If you're new here, I love Dollar Tree buttons. I feel like they're just the perfect little statement for any kind of bow. I love them. So that is it for this little couple of houses. And I think these turned out so cute. So let me know which one was your favorite from today. First DIY, you're gonna need a spindle of some sort. You can find these at thrift stores. Habitat for Humanity has a lot. And then a Dollar Tree sign. This is one of their spring signs, but honestly, any of their long signs will work, or whatever kind of sign you wanna use. So I was kind of just looking at it, laying it out next to the spindle and seeing where I wanted to cut it. And then I cut that and then I am going to cut the spindle down. Now, shout out to Megan from the Crafty Quinn because she gave me like 4 spindles and I was so excited to use them. And this is my first project with this spindle. So I'm taking a screw and I'm going to screw it in the bottom of this little wood round. Now, these are from Hobby Lobby, but sometimes you can find these at Dollar Tree. I would just assume buy them at Hobby Lobby because I think you can get like a pack of 4 for $5 and then let's say 50% off versus buying each individual one from Dollar Tree. So I screwed that into the bottom of the little wood round and then into the spindle. And then I'm kind of just measuring out the middle because I'm going to drill this sign onto the spindle, like with some screws, not drill it. That didn't make sense. But you know what I mean. Now, you guys, I like to think I'm a pretty humble person. I do love all the DIYs that I do, but you guys, these DIYs in this video are probably some of my favorite that I've ever done on my channel. So I cannot wait to show you guys. So then I'm taking this kind of like antique, I don't even know what you would call this, but this is from Hobby Lobby. It was like $2, and I want to put this at the bottom of this little sign. And at first I kind of played with the position, but I did want to cover up that screw at the bottom, and I didn't really care if it was raised just a little bit. Then we're just going to go in with some plain white Waverly chalk paint. I finally got to say that. Every time I use the color ivory, I always want to say white, but it's not white, it's ivory. So I finally get to say white Waverly chalk paint. And I'm just covering this whole sign. I didn't have to worry about the spindle. I thought I was going to have to paint that as well, but the white really did just blend in with that. And I kind of liked how it looked old anyway. The spindle, like some of the wood was showing through. So I really didn't have to mess with that. Now I'm just making sure I get like in the nooks and crannies of that little thing, the little decorative piece, but I didn't mind if like some of that wood still showed through. I liked that. And then I also paint the back of this. You guys know sometimes I don't worry about the back, especially if it's hanging on a wall and you're not gonna see it. But this is gonna be freestanding, so I wanted to make sure that the back was covered as well. So I do give that a good coat of the Waverly chalk paint as well. Then I just paint this little wood round as well because I want this all to be like white and all blend in together. I'm sure you guys, I mean, that's pretty obvious. But you can see I painted the back as well, and I love that little decorative piece. I feel like it adds so much character to this piece, and I'm definitely gonna have to go get some more of those. Then we're going to take some of our antique Waverly wax and our chip brush, and we are going to distress this. Now, a lot of you guys ask where I get my chip brushes from. Actually, a subscriber, Rochelle, she sends them to me. Shout out, girl. But I get them from plaid.com, but I believe that they are sold out, or I'm not sure if they're carrying them anymore, which is super sad because I love these. But if you guys follow Melissa from All Things Crafty, she's one of my good friends on here. In her Amazon store, she has a link to a small chip brush. I think it's by Folk Art, and she swears by it. She loves it. She says it's the closest thing to one of these. So you guys can go check that out, or just go on Amazon and type in mini chip brush and just try it out. I mean, you never know. So I then am going down to the wood round and just distressing, trying to pull out some more dimension, especially where those like edges are. I really want that to pop out and, you know, just add a little bit more, I don't know, contrast to this project. And then we are going to start distressing the face. Now, I really don't have a technique for distressing. I just go on the sides, and sometimes I will go in the middle, but I don't go in the middle for this project just because you'll see why in a second. So I just focus on the edges and then that decorative piece, just getting it to a rustic farmhouse look and get it how I like it, you know? Then I just printed this out on my Cricut. It's an N, and then it says Nicholas Family Established 2017. And if you didn't know, Nicholas is my last name. So I was going to try to do them all at once, but it was too long and it wasn't fitting. So I did have to separate all of them and then lay them down. Someone asked me if you can use your phone when you're working with your Cricut. And the answer is yes. That's all I use. I use my phone for everything on my Cricut. Then I'm just going to start laying this vinyl down, just playing with like the space and how I want it to all lay. I do the big N at the top and then Nicholas and then family. I just chose different fonts. I just go through and find it until I pick a font that I like. And I think actually every one of these is a different font. So I don't know. So I'm just laying all this out and getting it how I like it, and then removing the transfer tape. And then again, if you are new here, I like to sand over my vinyl, especially if I'm making a rustic piece. So I do that just to kind of tone down that black. Then I'm taking one of these little knobs from Hobby Lobby. I used this in a couple videos ago on my apothecary cabinet, and these are fairly cheap. I mean, they're not expensive at all, and I love them. So I did want to, okay, anyways, I like completely missed that point. So I hot glued that to the top and then painted it and distressed it. And then I felt like it was still missing something after I added that. So I was going to add this greenery. I left this in here just to give you guys another idea, I just took some greenery and I put it all together and made a cute little swag. And then I added a button, but after I didn't really like it. I kind of liked it just plain, but I did want to leave it in so you guys could see what it looked like, and it's your choice on what you guys want to do. I love this project, so let me know what you guys think. Moving on to my favorite from today. The first one was my second favorite, but this is my absolute favorite from the day. I have 4 of these Dollar Tree house picture frames, and I start by removing the backs, the glass, everything, and then taking those little prongs and just kind of bending them flat. Now, you could pull those off if you want, but honestly, it didn't bother me and I didn't really mind. So I did this to all 4 frames, and then we are going to paint our backs. And then for this project, we are going to use the color Ivory in Waverly chalk paint, and we are going to paint all the backs. Now, the reason I did this before we start this DIY, I don't want to give it away what I'm doing, but it's going to be kind of hard to reach. So that's why I did the backs first, and I'm just making sure to give them a good coat. Again, these are really, it's a nice color wood, so I didn't mind if some of that showed through, but for the most part, I did want to cover all of these picture frames, just the backs for right now. Now we're going to start assembling it. So we are going to be kind of making a house lantern kind of thing. I don't know. So I started by taking some hot glue and just holding the sides together. And at first this was like super flimsy. So I do reinforce it, and at the end it's pretty sturdy, but I was getting kind of worried there for a minute. So I don't know if you maybe want to use hot glue and super glue or E6000, whatever you prefer. But it did end up being sturdy, so it was just getting to that point that was kind of hard. So I'm just hot gluing the corners of the houses together and holding them until they're stuck and making sure that they're not going to go anywhere. Like 7 times. I had to use hot glue like 7 times. Next, I'm taking these little half beads. I got these from Amazon. I only got 2 sizes. I wish I would have got some smaller ones, but these ended up working. So I'm just taking these and I'm going to hot glue these in the corner. Now, this is where it kind of starts reinforcing it, because these beads, half beads, are going to hold the frames together, add some extra support, and then we will add some more support at the bottom. But I'm just going in and hot gluing these all the way down the side, and I love, you guys, I know I said this at the beginning, but you know how you just do that one project and it's like, oh my gosh, I love this. Like, I cannot believe I made this. It looks like something you would buy at Kirkland's. That's how I feel about this project, and I don't want to sound like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just super proud of it. So you guys got to let me know what you think down below. So this is what it will look like when you have the first corner done. And then I'm just going to repeat that step on all 4 corners and just gluing them all the way down until, it's done. Then this is where we're going to add a little bit more reinforcement. I'm just taking some regular size craft sticks and putting some hot glue on there and laying them kind of along the bottom, making sure that I'm sticking it on one frame and taking it to another. That way it's kind of holding them tight. And then I do this all the way around the bottom of the square. Now we're going to go in and finish painting this. Now, if I could start over and do it again, I probably would have painted all of the picture frames first, just because it was kind of hard to get in the crannies, nooks and crannies where those little beads are. But I mean, it ends up looking great. You can't see it, but I want you guys to learn from my mistakes. I would probably paint all of the frames first and then add the beads and then paint the beads. So I am just taking some Ivory Waverly chalk paint and I'm covering this whole thing as good as I can get it, as much as I can get in between those beads and stuff, and making sure that it is one even coat. Then we're gonna go in with our chip brush and some antique Waverly wax, and we are gonna distress this sign. Now, I focused mostly on the outside, the corners. We're gonna go in where the beads are. Now, you can see at the bottom, those, like the square where we laid the popsicle sticks. I didn't paint that. That didn't bother me because I'm gonna style this with some greenery, and you're not gonna be able to see that. But if that bothers you, go ahead and paint it, girlfriend or boyfriend, guys craft too. And so yeah, I'm just going around this whole thing and just stressing it. Again, I do go on the inside of the corners so that it all looks cohesive and store-bought. And again, I know I've said this, but I am so proud of this project. Let me know if you guys are going to try to recreate it. Have you found these picture frames? Have you made anything with these picture frames? And yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Great. For our last DIY, this one's pretty simple because the first two were kind of, long. These are just some cake trays, cupcake trays, whatever you want to call it. And I'm taking my heat gun and I'm going to remove the stickers from both of these trays. Then we're gonna hot glue them together, kind of bottom to bottom. I was gonna put little farmhouse beads in the middle of it, but I just didn't like the way it looked, so I just decided to glue the bottoms together, and I do like the way that this turned out a lot better than what I was gonna work with. So then I'm just taking my ivory Waverly chalk paint, and even though this is already white, I kind of wanted to add, I don't know, because ivory is almost like a cream color. So I wanted to add some tan to this white so it wasn't so white and it looked like an old tray that your grandma's had for 17 years and she's passing it down to you. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. You know what I mean. So yeah, I'm just dry brushing all on the sides just to get it how I want. And then I am, just continuing to dry brush. Then we're going to go in with our antique Waverly wax and a chip brush and just kind of do that same technique. And this is where it really starts coming together and looking really cool and looking more like a old style farmhouse tray, again, grandma's tray. And so I'm just taking it and just dry brushing all on the sides, just like I did with the cream colored. Then I'm taking some of these half beads. Again, I will leave the link to those in my description box. And I am going to hot glue these. So I put them every 3 scallop, if that makes sense. So if you're looking at the tray, I laid one and then I counted 3 and then hot glued another one. Pretty self-explanatory, but I felt like this just added a little bit more to the tray. Then I'm just going to go in with my chip brush and kind of distress the beads as well. That way they kind of blend in and they look a little bit, worn down as well. And then I do end up going back in with some of the ivory and dry brushing back over it and going back and forth until I got it how I liked. And I love how this one turned out as well, you guys. I got to pat myself on the back for today's video because I love everything in today's video. To start off with this first DIY, you're gonna need one of these little crate boxes from the Dollar Tree. This is the one without the holes. For this DIY, you could probably use the one with the holes. Just for this particular, I just chose this one. I don't know. I pulled it out of my stash. And you're gonna start by giving it, a fairly good coat of the ivory Waverly chalk paint. And then we are gonna take another one of these little, I don't know what they'd be called, round wood pieces from Hobby Lobby. You can get them from Michael's. They're fairly cheap, and we're going to paint that as well. So if you saw my last video, you saw that I used a spindle from the stairs. These were given to me from Megan, by Megan from the Crafty Quinn, and I was so excited to use these. And this was actually a leftover piece from that, and I don't know. I'm obsessed with using these right now. I don't know why. I feel like they're just such a cute little piece to stick in your house, stick on your front porch, I don't know. So I started by just taking my sander and sanding off a lot of that paint. I want it to look like a very old spindle. Then we're gonna go in with our chip brush and our antique Waverly wax, and we are gonna distress the side of this crate. I'm just focusing, kind of just feathering out on the edges. This brush is really awesome. Any chippy brush is really good to distress with. So I'm just, focusing on the edges, and then I'll move to the middle where those lines are. I wanna make those a little bit more defined, and I just repeat this step all the way around the box. Then I also want to give a shout out to Missy from the Crafty Cove. She found these signs for me at Dollar Tree. I was not able to find them anywhere. So when she found them, she picked me up a few, and I am so grateful. I was super excited to use it. So I am just taking this and I'm distressing all the way around the edges of this, trying to just make it look a little bit more worn, if you will. Now, you'll see in a minute, I actually redo this because I was going to screw this into the spindle, and we're not going to go into too much detail about what happened to that because let's just say it just did not work out. So I will go back and explain that in a second. So then I'm just standing over my box, just trying to blend in everywhere that I distress. You can see, look how I got a little dark there. And then once you stand over it, it kind of just all blends it in, and it looks so nice. Now I'm taking one of these little metal pieces. This came from a Dollar Tree picture frame. If you saw my little apothecary cabinet, this is what it came off of. Now, at first, I think I screwed it in upside down, so I had to unscrew it and then put it back in. But I thought this was really cute, and it added a really cute extra just detail to this box. Now, all I did off camera, because you guys, I don't know. I need pressure. I got to apply it to something. But all I did off camera was screw in one of those little round pieces on the bottom of the spindle. And then I hot glued one of those little, I don't know, knobs from Hobby Lobby. They're like $2, and then everything's 50% off there on the top, just to kind of make it, kind of all blend in together and look like it was store-bought. Now, this is where I went back and I was distressing another one of these signs because the screw got stuck in the other one. There was a hole in it. The screw got stuck in the spindle. I stripped the screw, couldn't get the screw out, so I improvised. So I thought it would be cute to maybe just hang the sign and kind of just let it dangle. So that's where we went with it. And I really think it turned out pretty cute. I also tried to screw that box in there as well. Also stripped another screw. These spindles, I don't know if it was because it was the top part and it was more thin, and the screws did not want to go in. So I ended up just hot gluing this box to the spindle. And then this part is a little wonky, but all I'm doing is just brushing, dry brushing over that little knob piece at the top and then distressing it to make it all blend in. And then I take some antique Waverly wax and kind of go over that screw that got stuck there just to kind of make it look almost like a rusted screw, and it doesn't pop out so much. And I really thought that added just a little bit more detail, and it made it look like this came this way. Then I knew I wanted to add a bow to this, and I needed the sign to hang just a tad bit shorter. So I took some ribbon. Most of it is either Hobby Lobby, Dollar Tree, or Walmart, and some raffia. And I kind of just left the jute that I used to cinch the bow. I didn't cut the strings, and I took the excess strings and kind of tied it at the top of this sign just to shorten the sign up a little bit and just add a little bit of detail to the sign as well. And then you can see I added this, I don't know, brown button in the middle of it, or wood button. I don't know, brown, wood, whatever. In the middle, if you're new here, I love buttons. And I found these really cute wood buttons at Walmart, and it comes with so many. So I added that to the top, split the raffia to make it look a little bit more full. And then I am adding some Dollar Tree Spanish moss into the crate just to add a little bit more color and dimension and give me something to stick my greenery down in. And that is it. Moving on to our next DIY, this one is pretty simple, but I actually love how it turns out. So you're gonna need one of these Dollar Tree laundry signs. They look like an ironing board or a surfboard, whatever you will. I also thought it maybe could be like an oar, like a paddling oar. I don't know. That's just what my mind sees when I see some things like that. But I actually didn't do anything with that. So I just started by removing everything, taking my heat gun, removing the sticker and the clips on the front. And then we're gonna go in with some white Waverly chalk paint and give the back of this sign, which is now the front, a good coat. But again, I still like some of that wood showing through. Oh my gosh, you guys, I finally found these boxes. I was so excited to find them. I bought like 2 sets, and at first I was gonna take that same color and kind of just dry brush on the front of them, but I really didn't like it. So I just took my finger sander, and I get these from Walmart. They're back in the paint section where you buy your sanders. It's called Gator Sander. And I'm just sanding down the edges, and it really did kind of take some of that face off and pull some of that darker wood through on the sides where it looks like they're worn. These would also just be cute as is. Like, I think these are absolutely adorable. That's why I didn't want to do too much to them. But then once I sanded them, I started to lay them out on this little board. So we're kind of going to make, I don't know, a tray, a shelf. I don't know, you could hang this up, whatever you wanted to do. I think it would also be cute to add maybe like a wood dowel in the middle of them. I don't know, I think that would be really cute too. So we're gonna start by hot gluing our big one on the bottom, making it flush with the bottom of this ironing board, or back now. Then once I had them all glued in the place that I wanted them, I'm going back in with my chip brush, and I kind of just wanted to add a little bit more dimension to these little drawers. I don't know, that's what I think they are, like drawers, I don't know. Do I say that weird? Drawers? How do y'all say drawers? Drawer? I mean, you can't tell me. But anyways, so I'm just stressing it. And this is where you could see, I think it would be really cute to put like a wooden dowel in the middle, or I don't know. I just think that would be cute. I don't know why I didn't do it. I should have done it. So again, I'm just going in and just stressing on the sides of this. Just Jeez Louise, but you know what I mean. I just focus on the sides. I don't really go too much on the face because, again, I think these are absolutely beautiful how they are. I just wanted to add a little bit more of an antique look to them. And that is it. I think this would be really cute in your kitchen. You could use it as a spice rack. You could honestly put it anywhere in your house, and I wanted to show you guys how I would style it. Also, peep the little hand right there. So cute. Moving on, I am taking one of these Dollar Tree wood trucks. I've actually had these in my stash for a while, so I thought this would be really cute to use for spring or summer. Are we in? No, summer's not till June. So spring or summer, I think it would be really cute. So I'm just taking some spackle from Walmart, and I'm using my Cricut spatula. I do not recommend, I just clean it off when you're done. I use anything around me that I can use at the time. So, and this does not come off your nails if you have your nails done. So that's why I always try to use something. I used to use my fingers, or I do use my fingers when my nails aren't done. So then at first I was going to go in with some white Waverly chalk paint. And then I remembered that I bought this milk paint from Tuesday Morning, and I really, really wanted to try it out. So I eventually do go over this with a different color. So this is what I was talking about. It's by Folk Art, so I'm sure you can get it somewhere else. It was only $3.99, and I saw my girl Shayna from Robinson Repurposing use milk paint before. I felt like hers turned out a little bit better. I didn't feel like this really chipped or did anything different. It was almost like a water-based paint. So I don't know. I really wanted to try it. I do think this truck still turned out super cute. It's almost like a blush pink. So I just started it taking my brush and just brushing over that. And it didn't really show the places that I didn't cover. Like the top of that, truck, you couldn't tell. It all just blended in together when I was done. All right, y'all, don't judge me, okay? I used a Clorox wipe because I didn't have any baby wipes around me, and I have Clorox wipes in my craft room because that's how I clean my silicone mat and stuff. So I was like, let's try it. 10/10, don't recommend. Because I just feel like the Clorox wipe kind of, I don't know, fabrics up, or it ended up being fine, but I would definitely use a baby wipe if you're going to stain something. So I just started going around the tires, and I was trying not to get in the middle, but eventually I was like, you know what, I'm going to put something there. So I just covered the whole tire with the black ink Waverly chalk paint and just, made it as good as I wanted. And then I did sand that a little bit down. Then I took some antique Waverly wax, and on the back of this truck where it should have been wood, I did also stain that as well. And I feel like it starts coming together here and looking really, really cute. Then we're going to go in with our chip brush and some antique Waverly wax, as always, and just distress this truck and make it look like an old vintage truck that doesn't cost that much for tags. I'm just kidding. We just had to renew our tags. So anyways, I'm just going on the sides, on the edges, and then kind of in the middle where anything would normally rust in real life is where I tried to focus on, like the hubcaps, the door handle, stuff like that. And I really think it pulls this truck together. Then we're going to take another one of these little wood rounds from Hobby Lobby. They are super inexpensive, and they come in like a pack of 3 or 4. And we are going to give this a good coat of the white Waverly chalk paint. Now, you guessed it, we're going to use another spindle. I love these. I feel like you can find these thrift stores, and they're super inexpensive at Lowe's too. You don't have to get an expensive one. And I just really wanted to use this again. I think they add such a cute decor piece. And then we are going to take some buttons. Now, I found these wood buttons at Walmart. I know I used them at the beginning of the video. They are in the sewing section, these wood buttons. Did I call them brown? Wood buttons. And I think they're so cute. And I wanted to add these on the hubcaps of the truck. And I don't know, I just love buttons. I think they're so cute. They're whimsical. And these buttons are more of like a rustic kind of, farmhouse vibe. That's totally why I picked them up. So definitely be on the lookout for those if you like buttons and farmhouse. Next, we're going to distress this little wood piece, just focusing on the edges and really just feathering out, pulling out, the dimension of this and adding, some more dimension. I just said that. So then I am taking this pick from Walmart. It was 97 cents. I think it's so cute. They almost look like weeds, if you will. And I just pulled off a couple of the strands, and I'm going to lay them out. I just start by like hot gluing them on the back. No rhyme or reason, just until I feel like it is full and the truck looks like it has a ton of flowers in it. I do go up, down, so they're not all just one, size. I did want it to look, a little different. And then once I had them all glued down, I'm just taking a popsicle stick and hot glue, and I'm just reinforcing that on the back just to make sure that they're not going to go anywhere. Then all I did off camera was just take a screw and screw it into the bottom of the wood piece and into the spindle. And then I took a smaller screw and screwed the truck into the spindle. I didn't have any issues with this. Thank the Lord. And it all went pretty well. So then we are going to just start pulling everything together, and we're going to start distressing this spindle because I want it to look like everything else and it all matches. So I'm just going on the edges, just feathering out and making it all blend in. Now, you can't really see this part, but I'm taking another one of these knobs that I used in the first DIY. You can see it up there. At the beginning, or like before, not the beginning, you could see the top of the spindle kind of through the truck. So I wanted to make this whole thing look like it was made this way. So I did want to add something to the top. And then I'm just going to make a bow. So I took some ribbon again from Walmart and Hobby Lobby, and I laid them all, on top of each other. You can see it right there. And then I'm taking some raffia, and I just take 2 pieces, 1 or 2 pieces, and I kind of just wrap it around until I get a bow look. Then I will take a piece of jute and place it in the middle, flip it over, and then cinch my bow, fix the ribbon, get it how I want it. Sometimes I will like crisscross smaller pieces of ribbon, but I just liked it like this. And then I tied this bow to the middle of the spindle just to give it, I don't know, something else. And I think this turned out so, so cute. It would be adorable on your front porch or honestly anywhere in your house. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, leave a orange emoji. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.